What is going on, my petrol-powered dudes? I am with my Street Triple as well as my R6 because my friend Sam Nation here, he helped me out so much that day when we got the brand new Huey Lewis exhaust. Huey Lewis is Borat's brother, right? Yeah. So since we got the Leo Vence / Huey Lewis exhaust installed the other day and he helped me out, I decided to let him ride the bike for the day. So we're going to take both back to Dax, and this time Dax is going to work on my Street Triple RS. Let's get on the road and talk a little bit more about this. We're almost at Dax's place. Damn, that sounds good. Woo! My bike compared to his sounds pretty quiet right now, but don't worry, we're working on that. Unfortunately, I don't have any negative things to say, because usually I have something negative to say before I get my suspension tuned. It's been pretty comfortable for me. It's way more comfortable than the R6, but that's to be expected because the R6 is a race-bred track bike. And while this bike is also a sport bike that can be tracked, it is not as track focused as that R6 is. So you would expect the suspension to be more comfortable in this. And it is. Overall, the ride is pretty comfortable and pretty plush. The only reason why I'm doing the suspension on the bike is because it's just something you gotta do. Because whenever I did the suspension for the R6, it wasn't even at all. From the factory, they just don't come even. So one side is gonna spring a little bit faster and higher than the other, and that's not a good thing. All right, here we are, the off-road dirt path. And here we are. So I brought my cameraman today.
Hey.
So, with this bike, I'm not getting any harsh feedback like I was with the R6. It's a more plush ride. When I sit on it, the rear end does go down further than the even the tuned R6 now. Otherwise, it's a pretty comfortable bike, but I am going to be tracking this towards the end of the month. And so maybe we can just fine-tune everything.
Yeah, it's softer altogether. It's pretty balanced, too.
Really?
Just need to get you in the right part of the stroke. Yeah.
Okay. For the purpose of this, like last time I didn't have my gear on, but should I just have my gear on this time? Like my jacket might make a difference.
I can absolutely compensate. Well,
Be like
on.
Family Guy.
Okay.
That's what happens when you're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're just measuring rider's position in the stroke right now. 6:19.
The other R6 video did pretty well though this week.
Okay, you can hop off. Alright, so now we're going to find out what the suspension stroke is at full length, compare it to where you were in the stroke by sitting on the bike, and that's going to give us our rider sag number. Okay. So if you can come over here for me and put your foot on the kickstand, just grab this bar, pull back towards your body, the front wheels come up, I'll measure that one. So 42 millimeters in the front, much softer than the R6 wheels.
Way softer. So this is primarily going to be a street bike.
Okay.
So I don't mind that it's soft.
Okay, so same thing, now we're going to get the back tire in the air.
Okay.
Again, just kind of put your foot on the kickstand so it doesn't go anywhere. You can grab this passenger peg, pull backwards so the back tire comes up, and I'll measure that one.
Okay.
53, okay.
Sheesh, 53.
That'll be 4.
It's at 34?
Mhm.
Okay. So 36 front, 34.
42 front,
Oh, wow.
34 rear.
Excellent.
So typically, right, you want the front end numbers to be a little bit deeper than the rear end numbers, right? It keeps the chassis at a certain angle, which helps the bike to turn like it's supposed to. Right now, as the bike sits, it's way on its nose. Not overly on its nose, but it's really on its nose, so it probably turns really well.
Yeah, it turns very well.
It doesn't oversteer quite like the R6 was, because my guess on that one was that one turned in really quick. And then once it was in a corner, it wanted to keep turning in, and you're having to hold it up.
Right.
This one I don't think is going to be like that, just based on the numbers. And it's got a much wider bar, so you get a lot more leverage. However, it's still just a little bit deep in the front, but it does feel more plush altogether. Yeah?
He said deep. So, can you explain what kind of suspension this is compared to what the R6 had?
Well, the components are different, right? This being an Olin shock, it actually has slightly less adjustments than the other one does. This one does not have high and low speed compression like it does on the R6. It's got one compression circuit, one rebound circuit, and then the same screw-type collar for preload that was on the R6 as well. However, the components are of much better quality. So its service intervals are going to be a little bit longer. The ease of maintenance is a little better as well. Yeah, it's moving. There. Lock collar shouldn't have been quite that tight. You didn't have to worry about it going anywhere, that's for sure.
The factory did a good job, let's just say.
Plenty snug. Actually, I don't need a full turn. Half a turn, so I'm going to put my mark in a different spot. Just put my mark in a different spot because I don't need a full turn. I only need half a turn.
Got it.
So I put the mark here, and then when I turn half a turn, I'll put the mark here.
Got it. Can you remind again what the front was and what the rear was?
42-34.
And what's the goal?
Probably more like 38, 32.
And 38 in the front?
Correct.
And 42 in the rear?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can still have kind of a softer ride and still not lose the geometric characteristics of the chassis.
Gotcha. That kind of tune is good for the track?
Well, did you want this one for the track or the street? I thought you said the street.
The street, but I will be tracking it as well.
Yes, skill set's going to have a lot to do with it also.
I suck, so it's okay then.
So typically for a street track setup, I'd run probably 35 in the front, 30 in the rear, maybe one or two off in either direction based on rider feel. And then go from there. The guys that are harder on the brakes and have a good feel for the brake lever and do a lot of trail braking and keep the front end in a stroke. We can run a stiffer front end, or if they're softer, we can run a softer front end. It's all going to be dependent on the rider. So there's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people think they do. I read some of the comments in your video where somebody was like, "Hey, where was this adjuster put?" and "Hey, where was that adjuster put?" It may or may not work for you because everybody's skill set's on a different level. Conditions are different. There's so many different different variables that go into it, and it's not a one size fits all kind of thing.
But regardless, it'll be stiffer than what I initially came with.
Yeah, by about 4 millimeters.
Okay. So does that mean it'll take away from the overall comfort?
I don't think it will. So a lot of that too is going to be based on the hydraulics and how it's actually moving through the stroke as well. So we're just basically adjusting your initial starting point in the stroke. So now we'll put some preload on the forks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same with the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And what does preload do?
Supports the rider, right? Basically changing spring tension. And arguably the spring's sole purpose is to support weight of the bike, weight of the rider. Yeah. Here's a little too soft, I think, in its compression stroke. Whenever you roll on the throttle, does it feel like the bike squats under power? You don't feel it?
Do you feel that way?
Oh yeah.
Do you feel that way whenever
On here?
Yeah, when you give throttle.
I can't remember.
Okay.
This one, yeah, it's soft in the compression stroke, so it's going down through the stroke with very little force. Rebound side of the stroke feels pretty good, but the compression stroke seems just a little soft. Let's see where it's at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Let's see what that feels like. That's better. It's only 3 clicks. Yeah, that's better. Whenever you grab a hold of the brakes, does it feel like the front end dives on you? Does it feel supportive? Does it feel stiff?
It does dive on me.
Yeah.
But not too much though.
Yeah. Feels just a little soft. Not bad.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Let's see where we're at. Half. 1, half. 2, half. 3 and a half. 4 and a half. 5. Just a touch. Half. 1. Half. 2. Half. 3. Half. 4. Let's do half a turn here.
I was holding it from like the side.
Should have brought my wireless mic and just gave it to him.
Yeah.
That's better. All right.
It's
I gotta
balanced.
ride it.
All right, let's give this baby a try and see what she's like. Like, this is a fairly bumpy road. I know it would be more uncomfortable to ride this thing on the R6 than it is on this one. But overall, I still think this thing is super comfortable. Do a couple of hard accelerations, a couple of aggressive braking, and see how she performs. No one behind me. Alright, the front does sink in deep whenever I'm using the brakes hard. Probably not good for a track-oriented situation, but for the street, I think it's good enough for me. And whenever I'm accelerating hard, let's try some hard acceleration. Let's see if it sinks too much or not. Not really. Back is good. Overall, still as comfortable as it was before. I think it's just now I think it's just a little bit more balanced than it used to be before. So I think I'm pretty satisfied with the results. This is still a bike that I want to use on a regular day-to-day basis. And by day-to-day, I mean going to the coffee shop and back, because I really don't have a day job. So it's coffee shop and back for me. And cruising for fun is day-to-day on this bike. Honestly, it's just a toy. It's just a toy. So if I'm going to be riding this as a toy, this is going to be like my comfortable toy. And my R6 is going to be my uncomfortable toy, but more track focused and an animal. And then whenever I want to chill, this is the chill baby. But as a chill baby, I love it. I think it handles wonderful. And I think now I feel more comfortable riding it because the suspension is dialed down to my weight, to my stature, and it's more balanced. So that's basically it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned something from this. Leave a comment down below, like this video, and also subscribe to the channel. And I will catch you guys on the next episode. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.